Hey teachers, so today I'm going to show you some accessible instruments that we don't always think of when we think of accessible instruments. So in one of the other videos, I'm showing you the enabling devices, and these are tech-based instruments and switch-activated instruments. But today I'm showing you some that are quite a bit more accessible and quite a bit lower in price that you can hopefully incorporate into your studio, into your classroom, that are a little bit more budget friendly and really easy to employ and enjoy. And so the first one, which is really a folk musician instrument that's used for a lot of multi-instrumentalists, and this is a heel tambourine. So it is exactly what you think. You're going to stick this shoe horn into the back of your shoe. All you need to do is tap your toe, and it's going to give a nice shaking sound for it. If you stomp your foot, it is probably going to be too aggressive and the shoe horn might fall out, but it works really great for just tapping your toe, and it means that students can play multiple instruments at a time. But if a student doesn't have grip strength, but they do have access to be able to tap their toe, even if they're in a wheelchair, this works really great. It can just slide into the back of their foot and they can tap their toe along with the music and join the band. Another one is, again, this was not originally created as an accessible instrument, but I think it works really well as one, and it's a finger shot. So a finger shot is a mini shaker. It's often used when you're playing the cajon or bongo drums, just to sort of add another timbre, and it's got just a simple elastic at the back, and so you can put it on one finger or two fingers. You can tap along, students can tap along on their wheelchair tray. All they need is just a little bit of motor movement in their hand, and it works really great. It also works well is if someone has a cane or a device, then you can just add it to the bottom and it's going to shake along and add something to the music. So that's a finger shot. And then we've got some wrist bells. We also have shakers, so ones that have an egg shaker on them. I currently don't have them right now. They're at another location, but these ones are Velcro, and so they can just strap onto your wrist like a bracelet and just shake along any type of movement. They also can strap to a foot as well, or an ankle, and that works really well, or to a part of a chair if someone wants to do that as well. So these work really well. There's quite a few different options for something similar to this, just with different small percussion instruments. And so, like I said, like the egg shakers are a really great option as well. And these are, you can just order them off of online retailers like Amazon. These ones came from Long McQuaid. There's also these ones, which are a scrunchie, and so it's easier if anyone has sensory sensitivities to Velcro, some people do, then adding it as a scrunchie to your wrist or your hair if you want to, and it just adds some music. Speaking of other finger activated instruments, so these ones are finger cymbals. These are found in a lot of Eastern music. Big cymbals are really hard to hold up, and they require a lot of core strength and upper arm strength. And even if a student wanted to play the triangle, which is a smaller percussion instrument and quite lightweight, but they don't have the grip strength to hold a mallet or even hold up the triangle, these work great because they just slide onto their fingers. They don't have to hold anything, and they can play them moving vertically or horizontally. So these ones are handbells. These are just simple classroom handbells, but they've got the extra step to be button activated. So there's this plastic casing around them that have these, and then these little buttons, I guess, that prop up the bell. So it's propped up a little bit. I'm just going to hold it up so you can see it. But when you press the button at the top, it's going to ring the bell. And so that works really great for button activation. These ones, perhaps you'll notice that the bell is sticking out a little bit from the bottom. So you just need to kind of scrunch that spring back in. And anyway, that works well too. Some of them need to be propped up a little bit more, like propping them up on a board or something like that. That can help. But this one, you just want to make sure that the bell is sort of, the spring is scrunched in, and it's not sticking out past the plastic part. But these are a little bit more of an affordable option for classroom instruments than the mini carillon that you saw me demonstrate. And then the nice thing about these button activated bells is that they can be split up between multiple people. And of course, unlike the carillon that I showed you in the other video, you can see that these ones, you can play multiple notes at the same time, as many as you have access to. And so this really works. Also, they don't have to have that finger activation, even if they just have that the use of their palm and a flat hand. That works really well, particularly for students with perhaps reduced mobility, or like hypertonia, cerebral palsy, things that require very little fine motor skills that can be used with a flat hand. These work really well, and they're a little bit more accessible than the switch activated ones. So this next one might be slightly controversial in that it can get annoying if used too frequently, perhaps. But this is called an Otamatone, and it's a Japanese instrument. They were created for classroom use. They're really quite accessible. So the way that it works, you'll see that this is a very soft and squishy ball. And inside the mouth of the Otamatone is a little speaker. And so that's where the sound is coming from. And in the back, you just put in, I believe it's AA batteries or AAA batteries. And then it looks like a little eighth note. You can also get them themed. But the way that it's played, I'll show you the back. You can turn it on and increase the volume. And then it gives you different pitch ranges. So we have low, middle, and high. And so if I have it on high, that's the highest. All I'm doing is pressing my finger along this strip, and that's going to change the pitch of the instrument. Now, I can also change so you can change the timbre a little bit by squeezing this, and it pushes the speakers on the side here. So that's the high sound. I'll demonstrate. Here's the mid sound. So it takes some getting used to. It's not really intuitive. You'll notice that there are no pitches marked on this. You can mark the pitches if you want to, so that students can see, like, okay, this is where do, re, mi, etc. But it will work chromatically. It also, you can slide your finger across it. And so these work really well for repeat after me rhythms. They're super silly. They're super fun. I've yet to meet a kid that does not enjoy them, and they can adjust. But it's nice because it doesn't require much of anything other than a simple touch, and it's quite sensitive. And so you don't have to push on it to activate like a button or a switch, but it's very, very light. And so if you want to do repeat after me's, call and responses, or add something silly to a band a band song or a choir song, or get them to sing an idea through their automatones. They're super silly. They're a lot of fun, but they're also really easily accessible. And I like that they can move, you can sort of move along with the pitches, and they can see as you're moving your hand vertically, the pitch changes. And so that's also great for music teaching as well. The only thing is that the lower notes are up top and the higher notes are at the bottom. I do wish that that was reversed so that it was like a little bit more user friendly, I think. But these are a lot of fun. They'll get a lot of laughs in your music classroom. And they're quite simple to use. They're very cost effective, and they come in a lot of different themes, and so they're a lot of fun to have around. So that's my video on accessible instruments that are not necessarily thought of as accessible instruments, but they work really well in an accessible classroom, and they're quite affordable to be able to use. And so if you've got a member of your classroom that is not able to perhaps play a traditional instrument, having them included using one of these instruments can make it quite simple to increase access in your music classroom or your music school or band.